Hey up guys, S-Man back at it again with another review for Pokemon Horizons. Now, if you guys do like this video, make sure you subscribe and like it for more content like this in the future, and even leave a comment about what you thought of today's episode. Now, let's get right into the review. This episode is basically all about Roy's first capture being Watchroll. And that is the main plot of this episode. There are some other things that happen with Freed, a little side stuff with Liko and Murdoch, but besides that, it's mostly just Roy and Watchroll, and I loved it. Now, I know this plot is kind of similar to old plots, like, for example, Watchroll did steal Roy's sandwich, and then they became friends, and he's helping it learn to fly, are two different ways Ash caught Pokemon. But it's definitely refreshing to see a new character do this take. And it definitely fits within Roy's character, as we've seen since his introduction. He's always been helping Pokemon. He helped Fuecoco, he helped the Arboliva regrow the forest, and now he's helping Watchroll learn to fly. And that's where this bond basically stems from. After some befriending it last episode, Roy decides that he wants to help it learn to fly. And he learned this after watching it sit alone while its friends all fly off, and even when he finds it, his friends yet again flying off to one of the nearby towers where we find the Gimme Ghouls at. I don't know what they're called, but we don't know why it can't fly yet. And after a Vespiquen chases Fuecoco, him and Watchroll, he learned that Watchroll is actually afraid of heights. So Roy's main goal in this episode is to help it learn to overcome its fear. We see the early stages of him doing this by attempting to get Watchroll to jump into a small lake, but it's afraid. So he steps down and has Watchroll jump off a slightly high rock into a nest he made. This is when Liko and Murdoch find it, and basically their plot lines intersect. I'm just gonna go over what Liko and Murdoch's plot was this episode. Basically, it's just them just going to the store and shopping together. Murdoch wants to make Dot a nice meal after all the work she's doing to help repair the Volt Tackler's systems after the attack from Spinel. So Liko offers to help him, and the two visit the town to get spices. Over this, Murdoch thanks Liko for being Dot's friend and hope they can continue being friends, seeing that Dot has actually been opening up recently, leading to them spending the together bonding. I like this because within the crew, I like the idea that this crew is basically a family, and seeing them interact in episodes like these. We got the Arboliva episode where it was Molly and Liko, and now we have this episode where it's just Liko and Murdoch bonding. Can't wait to see her potentially bond with Orla and Ludlow. But there is an important thing to come out of this, being that Murdoch couldn't find one specific spice that he wanted to get, which is going to lead into something important later. But that's when they meet up with Roy and see what he's doing for Watchroll, and they decide to help him out. This is when Freed comes in from his own plot. Basically, at the beginning of the episode, went to go investigate Noctowl's alarm, and he finds another Magneton. He follows it to a nearby alley where he's jumped by Behem and Magneton and has to have a battle against Spinel, who isn't there and is actually commanding both his Pokemon through earpieces, which that was really sick, by the way. Like, he's not even there and he's still giving Freed a hard time by using Psychic to hold down Charizard, and Magneton could just use its electric moves. And once it's paralyzed, they can use a Meteor Beam to take it out there and then. But that's when Freed gets the upper hand by using Terrasilize, so he can tank that hit and even avoid the Psychic type moves. This leads to Spinel's Pokemon retreating. And I just gotta say, I know we saw this in a preview, but it was still sick seeing Freed Terrasilize. I hope we get to see more characters Terrasilize like this. For example, like the gym leaders, how we saw Brassius, Nemona, even eventually Liko and Roy. It would be really cool to see them all Terrasilize and explore this gimmick that we might not get a lot of. The Volt Tacklers prepare to leave the next day, but before that, Roy still wants to find a way to help Watchroll fly. So after seeing Ludlow fishing, he gets the idea to use a fishing rod to help it elevate its body so it can practice flapping its wings. This works after the wire snaps and Watchroll begins to fly. He flies up to his friends, and Roy's happy for his new friend and walks off. But that's when Watchroll decides he wants to stay with Roy and flies all the way to him and Roy catches his first Pokemon, with Murdoch's help, of course. I can't wait to see Roy and Wattrel continue to grow in the future, because I think they're a really good pair. And the trio of him, Wattrel, and Fuecoco definitely seem like they're going to be entertaining. Now, as for the end of this episode, after Roy catches Wattrel, Liko actually gets a message from the store. The spice Murdoch wanted, they have it now in stock, so she goes to the store to go surprise him with it. But that's when Spinel bumps into her, knocks her down, and hypnotizes her, stealing the pendant and just walking off like the badass he is. See, Amifio, you could have just done something simple like this. He stalked the Volt Tacklers, learned all their weaknesses, and even listened to their conversations about something little as spice in order to set a trap for Liko. That's just commitment. I can't wait to see what happens next week. I can't wait to see the future of the Volt Tacklers. And I can't wait to see more of Wattrel. And even, this gets me excited for more Pokemon Liko and Roy could both catch in the future. I hope Liko really catches a Tinkaton. But overall, I give this episode an 8 out of 10. It was very fun. Loved seeing Wattrel and Roy, and just Murdoch as well. This was a good episode for Murdoch, Liko. Basically, every main character involved, this was a good episode for them. But yeah, if you guys like this video, make sure you subscribe and like for more content like this in the future. S-Man, signing off.